week on Red Shirts Die First, Season 1, Episode 6, Where No One Has Gone Before. I'm Tom, and with me, as always, is my co-host.
Hello, I'm Andy.
Hi, how you doing, man?
I am burning to death.
Burning to death, yeah. The heat is pretty fucking full on here right now.
I would say it's torturous, bordering on kind of hellish.
Yeah, it's hellish right now in the U-Kizzle. But what did you think of this episode, man? Quick synopsis.
A quick synopsis. Well, I do have the trusty one-line synopsis as ever. So yeah, like Tom said, we're doing Season 1, Episode 6, Where No One Has Gone Before. And the synopsis for this is, when an experimental engine modification throws the Enterprise to the edge of the known universe, the crew must rely on a mysterious alien to guide the ship home. Yeah, it's quite intriguing, isn't it? Is it? I don't know.
There's the premise.
That's the premise, yeah. So that's all the good things we're in for. Whether or not it's going to live up to its billing, we're going to find out. So this was written by Diane Duane and Michael Reeves.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was actually based on a novel by Diane Duane called The Wounded Sky.
Oh, okay.
So it was an original series, a pocket original series novel.
Do we have any more information on Diane Duane? Is she a known sort of science fiction writer?
Is she an alias for something?
Oh, possibly, yeah.
Is it like Dwayne Dibley?
Yeah. Dwayne Dibley!
The Duke of Dork. No, we're not going there. This is the Star Trek podcast, not the Red Dwarf podcast.
Yeah, we're not doing that yet. So yeah, this could be like a nom de plume. Yeah, I didn't know whether she was like a science fiction writer or just kind of like a television writer or something. I don't know. Probably should have looked into it.
But this was broadcast originally on the 26th of October 1987, and it marks the directorial debut of a certain Mr. Rob Bowman.
Oh, okay. So give us some backstory on Rob Bowman.
Well, Rob Bowman, if anyone is a fan of The X-Files, will be a name that you recognise immediately, because he directed more than 30 episodes of The X-Files, including the first film.
Oh, okay.
And he was kind of, basically all of the best, or the better X-File episodes were pretty much Rob Bowman ones.
Oh, okay. Do you have a list of any of the sort of Rob Bowman
Oh God,
episodes?
you're putting me on the spot now. I'll tell you what, we'll do that after the recap towards the end, when I've had a few moments just to, do you know what? No, not off the top of my head.
We can throw it in the trivia.
But it's basically all of a lot of the mythology ones.
Oh, okay.
So the ones with like the Smoking Man and the kind of more alien-based ones.
Excellent. Yeah, I always prefer those episodes of The X-Files.
They tended to be like Rob Bowman ones. But yeah, this was his first. I believe he actually directed some more TNG episodes as well.
Oh, really?
But this was his first one. So we might see his name pop up a few more times. All right, should we do the recap?
Yes.
Tea Earl Grey hot.
The dreaded recap. So.
Yeah.
We start off with the captain's log. The Enterprise is with the USS Fearless. They're basically meeting up to have 2 passengers beamed aboard. An expert on warp drive tuning or rearrangement, and his assistant, a warp drive expert and his assistant
God damn it.
are beaming over to conduct tests on the warp drive itself.
They are, yes. So Starfleet have insisted that these 2 come aboard, and have had some previous experience tuning up some other Starfleet vessels, including the USS Fearless. And I think we have Riker, the beardless Riker,
Beardless Riker.
He is still beardless, unfortunately. He's unhappy, isn't he?
Of course he's unhappy about it. Why is he unhappy about it? I mean, Picard seems pretty okay with it. He just, as far as he's concerned, this dude's just going to kind of check under the hood.
Yeah, so there is a bit of a story issue really early on. But Riker's not happy because they're going to be like dicking around with the engines. But then Picard tells Riker basically that they won't be making any changes to the engines. So, they're just running simulations and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Riker's sort of convinced that this guy's equations are complete bullshit. Like, they ran them through a computer, or Data says that they ran them through a computer simulation, and it literally did nothing to the ship's power.
Yes. But then I think Picard kind of assures everyone and us that, these 2 have been working on other ships and done stuff, made improvements. So we do end up down in the transporter room. So we're still pre-credits at this point, and we see Kaczynski, who's the Starfleet officer, and his assistant beam over.
This guy's a real arrogant asshole, isn't he?
Oh, he's a douche, isn't he?
Oh my god. I mean, Riker's pleasant enough at first, but this dude is just straight off the bat. He's a real douche flute.
A douche flute. Nice. Yeah, super arrogant. And we have a new engineer, a guy called Argyle. So that's interesting. So,
Yes.
so again, no McDougal. She's been consigned to the bowels of. We won't even remember her by next week.
Yeah, R.I.P. McDougal and Derp. I mean, realistically, they probably dropped the ball in that
Yeah,
episode. You know,
they
I
did.
think they've been court-martialed and hung,
Yeah.
which is, you know, it's for the best.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time and
Ejected out into deep space, I'd like
Yep.
to think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've got Troy, who accompanied Riker down to the transporter room, who is going to be really useful again and tell us that he's arrogant and overbearing.
Once again, no shit, Sherlock.
God damn it! Because I couldn't tell, could you?
No, I would have never have guessed from that pleasant introduction that he was, you know, harbouring some sort of arrogance.
Yeah, overbearing. I'd have said he was like really passive, chilled. But she does drop that she also can't read any emotions from the Traveller.
Yes.
Or from the assistant. We don't know who's the Traveller yet.
Yeah, the assistant is this kind of mysterious, tall figure.
It's
who-
like he's wearing like a painted crayon kind of outfit, isn't it? Like
yeah,
melted
these
crayons.
weird bananas in pajamas, PJs that he's got on, and he kind of looks like the guy from Men in Black. You know, the really tall dude.
Yes, you're
who,
right.
who ends up at the mortuary.
Damn right.
Yeah.
He? I don't know. I think he's a bit creepy, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a creepy pederasty vibe going on with him and Wesley.
Yeah, we had a
Young
certain,
Wesley Crusher.
Oh god, we had a set. We're not going to say it on air, but we did have a little certain name drop between us of who we thought this guy reminded us of. But we're not going to go there
No, we should not go there.
because it's too soon. Right.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, Troy is concerned, and Riker tells Troy to stay concerned because the safety of the Enterprise might be entrusted to these two. But I thought Picard had just been telling us that they're only making like simulations.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand, because they get very hands-on as soon as they get in there.
They do.
Well, I mean, once they get in there. I mean, at first, I think Riker's a little bit sort of pensive about letting him go forward, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, so we've got post credits now, haven't we? So we have our lovely opening credit scene, and then we're down in engineering.
We are. Kaczynski is asking why Wesley's hanging around in engineering like a Bart in a spacesuit.
It's a damn good question.
Yeah, it is a damn good question. I mean, what is he doing? He's just kind of sat at this console dicking around and no one is stopping him.
I know. It's like, doesn't he have like a leash or something? Like, isn't he like restricted from these areas?
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to sit in his room and jerk off and make mini tractor beams, that's fine. But he should
Yeah.
not be down in engineering messing around with some kind of a station. It looks
Yeah.
like he's sat at some kind of a station or a panel.
He's doing stuff. He should not be doing stuff.
Well, he's doing stuff with the warp drive, surely.
Yeah, I reckon, as we talked about in the last episode, like, I mean, his mum just hasn't been slipping him enough sedatives.
I just think she doesn't care. She's just, you know, she just lets him wander around the ship, and if he ends up, you know, getting sucked out into the vast vacuum of space, then that was Wesley.
So be it. The chief engineer isn't happy, Riker's not happy, and Kaczynski kind of wants to just start playing with stuff, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He gets super angry when they ask him to kind of explain his theories, and he's like, "Man, you wouldn't understand."
Yeah, and then when he does start trying to explain his theories, he's not explaining them at all.
No, it's just complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah.
But he starts doop-doop-dopping at the panel.
Yeah, and while he's doing that, he's the traveller, also the assistant, has started to kind of dick around on the control panel that Wesley was on.
He has, yeah, but Wesley kind of takes over again, and there's kind of this weird longing look towards him from the Traveller.
Yeah.
You're a genius,
I know.
boy.
It's really uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable.
But also, it's just annoying because Wesley starts. He has like this kind of wonderkind routine, doesn't he? Where
He
he's
does, yeah, MacGuffin Wunderkind Wesley.
yeah, and he just knows how everything works better than like everyone else, and he's like a 12-year-old kid, and it's just very annoying.
All right, real talk. I can cut this out if it's offensive. Is
Go
Wesley
on.
supposed to be on the spectrum?
The autism spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on a spectrum.
Is that what it's supposed to be?
I don't know. He's he's supposed to be the genius kid, isn't he?
I guess.
You know, like and in fact, this actually happens in the episode. He gets compared to Mozart.
Right, yeah, that does happen. Oh, I bet that hurt you. I bet that hurt you deep in your heart.
It did a little bit. What do? We have Kaczynski's still bleating on about his equations.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah blah. I think we should cut a bit of that in because it's just ridiculous.
We should do. He's talking such nonsense.
And then we do cut off to the bridge at this point.
We do go back to the bridge. They set into warp 1.5 and the ship starts moving.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got down in engineering. They're kind of dicking around with the engines, aren't they?
They are.
And the Traveller does this this kind of weird phasing like routine.
Yeah, he's kind of going in and out of existence. I don't know. It was odd. He was just, yeah. As he was on the panel, he was sort of phasing in and out of existence. It was weird, man.
It was, wasn't it?
It was.
Those visual effects. Do you think that was quite hard to do in the 1980s?
Yeah, I was kind of impressed.
Well, they're kind of transposing like the scene behind it, or like the thing behind him, like in front of him, as like this kind of phasing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was quite cool.
To be honest with you, the CGI in this episode is kind of cool. It's pretty impressive for the time, I
No,
think.
you're right. Yeah, because it's still shot on analog film, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Didn't they process a lot of the CGI graphics with like Amigas back in those days as well?
Was it an Amiga?
I think it
Wow.
was Amiga workstations.
That's good.
Yeah, it's close to my heart. Makes it
Yes,
tingle.
yeah, some love for the Amiga right there.
Uh,
So there is some actually. I actually made a note of this. There's some awesome music during this scene.
oh, okay.
Just while they're kind of doing the whole phasey thing, there's like I don't know. It's classic TNG music, but it's I enjoyed it.
Was it like... yeah, I love when it gets like super bombastic and...
Really bombastic, really positive, kind of uplifting.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's quite good fun.
yeah, super grandiose.
Yeah, so we do have our first problem with the episode coming up right now. Yeah, so they suddenly end up passing Warp 10.
Yeah.
So that's
this is when-
impossible.
This is when they start going to Plaid to make a Spaceballs joke.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Shit starts getting fucking crazy out there, dude.
It does, yeah.
They start warping through galaxies and... I mean, how fast are they supposed to be going?
Well, this is the thing, right? So Warp 10 is actually infinite speed. So it's every single point in the universe at every moment in time, effectively.
How far has the Enterprise been pushed at this point?
Yeah, so they do end up 2,700,000 light years in the Triangulum galaxy. There you go.
Yeah, this place is trippy.
Yeah, so they go kind of through the Milky Way, through another galaxy, and then they end up on the far side of another galaxy. Yeah, that's kind of amazing. And LaForge tells the captain it's going to take 300 years to travel home.
Yeah, Picard just kind of refuses to believe it at first. He's like, wow.
That's right.
I mean, you would be, though. That's pretty fucking far away from home.
It is.
Then they send a message back to the Federation, and Data starts saying, should be there within, like, 51 years, 7 months, and
That's right.
it's like, Data, shut up.
So there is, I don't know if this will make the cut or not. Who knows what's going to make the cut in this episode.
Yeah.
But, oh god, I'm loath to even bring it up. But Voyager, Star Trek Voyager.
Right.
Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there, whether it goes anywhere, I don't know. So they were stranded 75,000 light years away. That's like the whole premise of their thing. And
Yeah.
it was going to take them 75 years to get home, right?
Yeah.
So 75,000 years, 75 years. The Enterprise is 2,700,000 light years. And the Forge is saying 300 years. So the Enterprise is one hell of a ship, isn't it?
That is one hell of a fucking ship, to be fair, dude.
And the
Wow.
Voyager was supposed to be like the state of the art, you know?
Yeah.
It
sure
sucked.
Sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
I think it's just, I mean, fair play to them, and I'm not having a go, but it's just, with these early episodes, they were just figuring out, like, the science.
Yeah, it's just like throw out impossible science and techno babble and just kind of hope for the best. But
Yeah.
it really does kind of come back and bite them later on.
It does, I mean, they do get their shit together, though, later on.
I can't wait to get there, man. Oh god, I can't wait to get there.
Don't worry, it will happen. Just
It
have
will
faith.
happen. I will. I have the faith.
So yeah, they've ended up in Triangulum, and we've got a captain's log now.
Oh god, Kaczynski has got the biggest shit-eating grin on his face at this point,
He
hasn't
does.
he?
Yeah.
Oh god, it's painful.
Yeah, it's like he's just shat the golden turd.
He really has just shat the golden turd, and he's just brought it up to the bridge on a pillow to show everybody.
Yeah, he's proud of that.
He is so proud
It's,
of it.
you know, gold encrusted diamonds, jewels.
It's a bling turds, but Riker's still not buying it.
No, Riker thinks it's all sounds like nonsense, and we kind of cut back down to engineering, so we're kind of bridge and engineering heavy in this episode. So Wesley's very concerned about Kaczynski's assistant, and they kind of have this really deep and meaningful talk about space and time.
Yeah, this is like... Yeah, sorry. Is this where you said you wanted to get a little bit philosophical with regard to the episode, or is that coming later on?
Or maybe a bit later on.
Because he kind of... It suggested that, you know, thought, matter, and time may all kind of be one and the same, and doesn't the Traveller kind of cut Wesley off and go, no, you don't need to, if people were to find this out, it would be, it's just,
It's
just
like too dangerous, yeah.
It's just dangerous nonsense. Forget it, boy.
Yeah. You're talking gibberish. And then we've got back on the bridge, we've got Kaczynski. I've said he's been strutting around, and he has this thing about the Kaczynski scale.
Yeah, doesn't Worf joke that it should be called the Kaczynski scale, or someone jokes about it being
Someone does. It might be Argyle, but
Oh,
he's so far up his own arse at this point.
Oh, I love the strut.
The strut, it's a power strut.
And everyone, though, thinks he's a dick as well, which makes it even better.
Yeah, we've got Troy being ever useful. She says he's convinced he's right.
No shit. Did you see the golden turd he just brought up?
Yeah, I didn't get that. That he was. I thought he came across like he didn't really know what he was doing. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, when he started moonwalking across the bridge.
Oh God, I've got here that Worf says the most stupid thing in the episode by basically suggesting that Kaczynski shouldn't be given a second try.
Yeah, so we'll just sit here in M33 until the end of time.
Yeah. Except Data, he's quite happy to stay there.
Yeah, they do kind of suggest going exploring, don't they? And Picard says, it is tempting, number one.
Yeah. The thing is, Data doesn't need anyone else. He can pilot the Enterprise back home, over their dead bodies.
Exactly.
He's immortal. He can basically live hundreds of years.
He is the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Oh, dear.
I don't think I get that reference.
What, the greatest of all time?
Greatest of all time. Oh, it's an acronym. Okay. I was thinking his natural GOAT.
No, I'm not suggesting Data is a GOAT.
Oh, dear God.
Was that ever made into an episode?
Data the GOAT.
I'm sorry, sir. I appear to be a goat.
The Data GOAT Bridge Simulator. That is a game I would play.
What, Goat Simulator? Star
Goat
Trek Bridge
Simulator.
Edition.
That's right. We need to write to the manufacturers of that game.
Engage number one.
Yes. Oh God. We have to make our own fun, don't we?
We do. We have to start a GoFundMe.
Oh.
Picard wants to go home.
He does, yeah.
They have to get back.
He doesn't want to hang around.
He doesn't. I mean, he does ask Kaczynski earlier on, can you do this again? Can you actually get us back? And Kaczynski's like, of course I can.
I'll just do what I did before.
Yeah, nice going, dipshit.
I think actually right there you do get the first moment of self-doubt with this guy.
Yeah, you can see it. It's written all over his shit-eating face.
Yeah. What happens? We go down to engineering, don't we? Kaczynski is still in love with himself. We've got Wesley trying to tell Riker what was going on, but Riker keeps cutting him off.
He does, yeah. He tries to tell him twice that there is something off with the Traveller, but Riker does keep cutting him off. He needs to get over to Kaczynski, who is jerking himself silly in the corner of the engineering room.
Yeah. He's rubbing himself dry, man.
He is rubbing himself raw, but the Traveller's looking super tired. Very
that's
tired.
right. But they try again, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Doesn't Wesley kind of try and catch him off guard a little bit and go, can't somebody else help you with it, maybe? Or
yeah, that's right. But they do their kind of magic warp routine, and Riker this time actually sees the assistant kind of phasing in and out of existence.
Yes.
And back on the bridge, we have this kind of shaky, blurry camera kind of effect.
Yes. Like I say, I was watching this in VR, and this made me feel pretty sick.
In VR, really?
Yes. Well, just through a VR headset, because there wasn't an available TV. So, it was interesting.
Interesting, okay.
Novel, and made me feel sick.
At least it wasn't the Ferengi episode.
Yes. No, that would have been actual vomit on my PlayStation. Yeah.
Giant Ferengi heads.
Human!
Human! I think Data then kind of has this little quip where he says, when Picard asks, where is this place? And Data says, where no one have gone before.
Yeah, they end up in sort of this bizarre, smoky blue cloud galaxy where bubbles are sort of being blown everywhere. They look like bubbles to me, dude.
Yeah, I didn't really understand if they were still in the universe or where where they've gone.
Well, yeah, that's the whole the whole point, isn't it? I don't think do we ever actually find that out? It's not neither the end nor the beginning, or
well, I think this is the kind of the philosophical moment. So I kind of think at this point they've actually left the known the universe, prime kind of material universe.
Okay.
And they're in this world or this place that's more thought and consciousness, which is why everything from this point on goes really kind of crazy.
It does, yes. We start having these bizarre hallucinations. on the Enterprise. Worf sees his Klingon Targ, which is kind of like what the hell is this? It's like a raccoon ball.
I reckon it's like a hog, isn't it? That they've just like put some spines on.
Oh yeah, they have just stuck bits on it. It's so cute.
Yeah.
I love your note. That looks tasty. Barbecue that sumbitch up and spice up them ribs.
Yeah, that's right. And then it suddenly disappears, doesn't it? And then Tasha's cat appears.
Is this where she has the flashback, or is this afterwards?
No, you're right. She No, you're right. No, so the cat appears, and then we end up in the turbo lift, and Picard has this. I actually really like this scene. It was like a crazy kind of falling into space moment.
Yeah, he opens the elevator door, kind of steps out into the nothingness. It's bizarre. Cool. It's a very cool effect.
No, I really like that. It kind of made me, because I watched this through twice, and that was a scene that the first time I was watching it through, it kind of was like, oh, I don't remember that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So everything is basically crazy, isn't it? We get this flashback to Tasha Yar being chased by rape gangs.
Yeah, she mentions rape gangs again. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, so we get this kind of his backstory, isn't it, with Tasha Yar.
Yeah, you see her on this weird, smashed up Terminator 2 style set.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, with a cat.
Yeah.
Which she tells to run. Then you see kind of guys with torches and sticks and everything else laughing and coming after her. Someone grabs her shoulder and she sort of snaps out of it.
I reckon the cat looks a bit like Spot.
It does look a little bit like Spot, yes.
Do you think it's the same actor?
It could be Spot, the same actor.
The same actor, Cat.
Has he got his own IMDb? See what other acting credits this cat has.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I reckon so. That would be our trivia for the episode if it is.
Yes. Yeah, is it the same cat?
We do get some Mozart now.
We do.
Beautiful. I recognise the piece as well.
Okay, can you name that piece?
I can. I won't be very good at pronouncing it because it's German, but it's Eine kleine Nachtmusik.
Eine kleine Nachtmusik.
There you go. That's much better pronunciation than me.
That was terrible. Yours was probably better. And I have a German fiance, so
yeah, we need Nikki on that.
yeah, we do. But stuff is going pretty haywire right now.
Yeah, it's basically like everyone's imagination is coming true, isn't it?
Yes, we see Picard kind of shuffling around, looking confused as balls, and he sees someone ballet dancing around one of the decks.
Yeah, that's right. And then, like, he's obviously looking, and he doesn't see the hallucination. He just sees her in, like, her ensign's uniform, like, dancing around.
Yeah, she sees herself in a tutu on some kind of, like, stage somewhere, or sound stage, and, yeah, she's not. She's just in her uniform, dancing around in
a
random room somewhere. We've got the guy jamming out with the band.
Yeah, that's right. So he's got a violin, isn't he? And he's
Yes.
Oh mate, I'd love to be able to play like that.
Oh, absolutely. He is so into it as well. He's just sort of sitting with this violin section and
Yeah.
playing the crap out of Mozart.
Yeah, so we get this moment with Picard and his mum.
Yes, he turns around a corner and sees his mama.
Yeah, offering him some tea.
Yes, she does offer him some tea. Do you know what? I welled up a little bit watching this part.
Really? It's amazing acting, isn't it?
It is good acting. I think the bit that got me afterwards is I was okay watching it, and then it was when Riker's just like, "Do you need any help?" And he's just like, "No." I was like, "Oh, Picard."
Yeah, no, we've said this before, haven't we? But Patrick Stewart does save a lot of scenes just by being Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, with a much worse actor, that scene could have been complete and utter train wreck comedy, I think. But they actually pull it off.
Yeah.
They pull it off well.
So, I mean, basically, we kind of see now, and again, this is the philosophy of the episode, that it's this idea that fundamentally reality comes from within rather than something that just is. So, like, life forms kind of think their existence into being by just thinking it, essentially. I do love this concept. It's got kind of some Buddhist elements to it. It's got some of the crap that we read, you know, the holographic universe type stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the Matrix. It's one of those. I mean, maybe we should leave this to the end, but I think generally this is one of those concepts that if they'd have done this concept as a season 5 or season 6 episode,
oh, could you imagine?
it would have been, you know, potentially just incredible. I mean, having it this early on in the run was such a shame.
Yeah, and they just kind of skirt around it a little bit. It's sort of like the B plot to the ship's kind of A plot with the warp drive.
Yeah, if they could have made that kind of, I don't know, that premise, you know, one whole episode in itself, I mean, that's classic science fiction, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could have been very interesting. Like you say, whether they could have done it this early on convincingly, don't entirely know, but if it was a sort of 4, 5, or 6 episode, then damn,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that.
I
Like you
do.
say- sorry, man. I was about to say, like you say, it's kind of like an early sort of premise to what essentially the Matrix is about. That, you know, that reality isn't this kind of tangible thing. It's not black and white, and what you see is not necessarily what you get.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's all down to your perception of what reality is. I mean, right now, does the Enterprise do they even technically exist anymore? Where they are? Because he asks his mother. He's asking his mom, like, "Do you know where this place is? Can you tell me where we are now?"
Yeah, so I think, and we kind of said this earlier, but honestly, this episode doesn't really do it very well. But I think the point is that the where no one has gone before is that they're not actually in the universe anymore.
No.
That they are in this, you know, place that the souls kind of exist, or where it's just pure consciousness, or like pure energy, or I'm going to sound really like some some metaphysical bullshit that I'm talking here, but
There's plenty of those podcasts on online, dude. Don't worry about it.
yeah, but I kind of think that's what they were. I mean, is that the kind of thought you got watching that?
A little bit, yeah, definitely. I can definitely see what you're saying.
I just think maybe I was reading into it more because I wanted it to be more than what it actually was.
There is potentially that side to it. I mean, obviously your take on it has sort of coloured my perception of it as well. Whether I'd have drawn quite the same thing watching it through, but yeah, I mean, I could only kind of deduce that they weren't necessarily in any sort of physical place once they had moved. I think the Traveller had brought them to another sort of plane of existence, another version of reality,
Yeah.
where he is actually from.
Yes. Yeah. That's that's a very, very good point. I think.
Did he technically overshoot it? And because he did say something about when earlier on when Wesley is asking him if he's okay, he says, "I've been away too long."
Do you know what? Yes, you're completely right.
Did he pit stop home just to rejuice? Because to get them out of there, right at the end where everybody's like, think happy thoughts and say happy things, and we can blast back home. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but
No, yeah, it's a good point.
who knows?
I think you might be right. I mean, it wasn't super obvious in the episode, any of these things, was it?
It wasn't. No, it's definitely not telegraphed to you.
So anyway, should we? So what happened? So we've got down in engineering, and Picard has kind of called this sudden red alert. Kaczynski's just looking confused, like he's basically lost the plot at this point.
Yeah, it's completely out of his control now. He's in way over his head.
Yeah, he was fine. He was fine when he was in like M33, but now wherever the hell this is, he's that's it.
He was so cocky moonwalking with that golden turd, but now he is just straight shitting pants.
Yeah, that's it. It's a shit pants central. Next stop,
Skid Mark City. Picard has figured out that thoughts are creating the reality that they're in. Everything they're seeing is based on their sort of subconscious.
Yeah,
It's being manifested as a real thing on the ship.
that's right. And we've got the assistant is unconscious at this point, and kind of down in engineering. Basically, Picard wants to know what's going on. Riker tells him that the Traveller was phasing in and out, and then that Wesley was watching it all. And then Picard gets angry at Wesley. Why didn't you tell me? And all this stuff. And
Yeah, fair play to Riker coming to his rescue. He says, he did kind of try and tell me, but, it's Wesley. I just kind of hit him a couple of times.
yeah, I gave him a slap round the back of the head, and
Get the fuck out of here, Wesley!
that's right.
But the journey was too much for the Traveller, who's unconscious on some kind of a lab table. Are they down in sick bay, or...?
Do you know what? I thought originally this was sick bay, like this first scene, but
Yeah,
they're not. They're in engineering, and but Crusher's down there, and they've got this kind of emergency bed.
Like a makeshift slab.
It is. I reckon that's where the engineers just like get a bit of shut eye. They're not
Maybe,
allowed.
yeah.
They're not good. They're not good enough to have their own like rooms.
Derpy is constantly sneaking off for a fucking 5-minute nap.
He's got a hammock around back.
Oh, he does.
We do actually end up in sick bay now, though. What have we got? Crusher's got a magic little wand out, and she hasn't got a clue.
Yep. Oh, is this where Wesley comes in?
Yeah, that's right. So
What is the-
Wesley,
what is
the
the-
boy? Go on, you do it.
What is the boy doing here?
Yeah,
He does get called boy a lot in this episode.
yeah, that's right. And Picard wants Crusher to wake up the Traveller, and I've kind of put a note in here on the show notes that we're 30 minutes in roughly.
Yeah.
This is so boring, isn't it?
It is. Like, yeah. Not again, like last week's episode, not much has happened, and then you kind of get to the last 15 minutes or so, and then boom.
Yeah,
Oh crap, we better wrap this up.
yeah, we've got like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
to get them back.
It's the strangest pacing. It really is in this first season.
Yeah, I think like always we've got to cut them some slack for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they were still finding their
Yeah.
feet.
I've got Wesley is in love with him. I think that's the Traveller.
Ew,
I'm sorry. I mean that platonically. He does have like this kind of connection with him.
my dear boy. Yeah, he does.
So
So, yeah. This
Kaczynski
is
does get revived, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Not Kaczynski. The other
this-
guy.
Yeah, the Traveller. This is the big reveal.
Go on.
Was this not where they wake up the Traveller on the slab and they basically ask him to explain what the fuck is happening and where they are?
Yeah.
So he basically explains that thought is the basis of all reality, like you were saying, Andy. He's kind of going backwards and forwards and saying, how can I explain this in a way that you dumbasses will understand?
It's kind of like thought is basis of reality, but then like the physical reality can be used as a vehicle for thought to kind of travel between like these different dimensions.
That's right, yeah. Riker asked why, have they not been visited before? He says, we've not exactly found you that interesting until this point.
Yeah.
Sort of his people have not found humankind particularly interesting, or at least that galaxy particularly interesting until this point.
And then everyone kind of leaves, don't they? And then Picard and the Traveller have this little sort of chat about Wesley.
Yeah, the Traveller's just like, he's a good boy. My dear boy. He's really talking him up. He says that Wesley is a fucking genius, compares him to Mozart. Andy throws up in his mouth a little bit.
I did.
And he tells Picard that Wesley's gift must be nourished, and the ship is the best place to do that, but to not let Wesley know that, because God forbid that little shit should get an ego.
Yeah, I think it's too late for that.
Yeah, I know. I think he already knows that he's the best.
Yeah, he's read the script.
Captain Wesley.
Captain Wesley. We end up back in engineering, and Picard wants everyone to think nice thoughts. Yes, Picard wants everyone to think nice thoughts. And did you spot the kind of they've got these like cut shots of various Enterprise crew, and there's like this Asian guy in a miniskirt.
Yes, I saw the Asian guy in the miniskirt, just like, he was rocking it, man.
They do this quite a bit in the first season, don't they? They have like guys wearing miniskirts.
Are those seen outside of season 1?
No, they're not.
I do love the way everyone kind of stops and pays attention, though.
I think it's like, but they're being like super like ultra progressive.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean,
Well, it was 1987 as well. We have to give them some credit.
okay, that's true. That's true. So Troy is absolutely loving the good thoughts.
Yeah, she's like high as fuck right now. She just popped some ecstasy.
Yeah, I bet she wants to like just pop off to the bathroom and
She just wants to go and rub something.
rub something hard for 5 minutes.
Just rub herself up against something for 5 minutes. Like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got Wesley helping out the Traveller while they have this go at kind of warping back into like normal space again.
The sweet, soothing touch of Wesley Crusher
It
was
is.
enough to rejuvenate the Traveller fully, so that they could travel out. Like, what a bunch of bullshit, man!
It is. It is bullshit. I'm sorry. This is bullshit.
Aye.
And this really is like the last like 2 or 3 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, it's really starting to wrap up, and it wraps up pretty fast.
Yeah.
I do love that everyone knows that Kaczynski is just a useless piece of shit now, but he still lets him doop-doop-dop at the buttons at the end. What's that about? I mean, clearly he's useless. He knows nothing.
I think that's just a bit of pity, you know.
You think so? He's just like wants him to
Yeah.
feel important. Yeah, and he falls for it as well. He's like, you still need me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just sit there, dipshit.
Derpy will take over if you don't.
Derpy's reading a Playboy in the hammock.
He is. Yeah, he's oblivious to all of this. He doesn't care.
He's smoking Lucky Strikes. He ain't giving a
Yes.
fuck right now.
And suddenly they return home. So it's like basically the massive red reset button was hit with like 60 seconds to go.
Yep, everything's fine.
Everything's fine, and they're back exactly where they were before it all started.
Son of a bitch.
So that's kind of lucky, isn't it?
It is really lucky, wouldn't you say? And it's all thanks to Wesley Crusher.
So he's gonna get his special little moment in the sun now, isn't he?
Yeah, just when Andy couldn't vomit any more bile, Picard calls the boy to the bridge, and yeah, this is where Wesley gets immortalised as an ensign.
Yeah, he does. He gets the acting ensign sort of promotion. Do you know what? I made a note here. I actually love the way Patrick Stewart, Picard plays this scene. It is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. It is. I will give you that much.
And then Riker does have this, Riker and Picard have these really good lines that do actually end up, finishing the episode off in a bit of style.
Yeah, they're just kind of fucking with him a little bit. And, shall I send him for Dr. Crusher?
Picard is, why? Is someone ill? And that is it. That is where no one has gone before.
Be honest, that wasn't that great.
Wasn't that what, the podcast or the episode?
I was going to say the episode.
Hopefully the podcast is better than the episode.
I should hope the podcast would be better than the episode. Even watching this through a VR headset for novelty factor, it was still pretty boring.
Yeah, that's a kind of standout. I mean, they have, like I've said in the episode, they do have this really nice kind of deep philosophy that I think, if it was done, 50 or 60 episodes in, when the cast were like really bedded in and the acting was there, it would have been a completely different episode.
Yeah, I think it would have been one of the all-time greats, to be honest.
I think
the show
you're right.
was kind of firing on all cylinders by season 5.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's your? So you said it's pretty boring. I mean, have you got any kind of standout moments?
I say it's boring. I mean, there's some really nice visual effects in this episode. I'll say that much. I mean, for 1987, I was genuinely impressed by the weird Space Odyssey 2000 graphics. When they're zooming through space at unimaginable speeds. I mean, it was cool. I like Kaczynski. Like the guy playing him plays douchey well, plays crushed pretty well afterwards when he realises that he's a useless bag of shite.
Yeah.
The Traveller's creepy. He had some pretty funky makeup. I mean, that was cool. Like I say, there really wasn't that much. I mean, Data didn't get that many lines. Geordi didn't get that many lines. It was mostly just back and forth farting between the bridge-heavy scenes and
engineering heavy.
People farting around in engineering, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of. I think they call this it's like a canned show where basically it all takes place within like sets that they've already like built and are just like ready to go for every episode.
Yeah.
So there's nothing special. There's no planet scenes. There's no like off-world action. There's no away team, away party or anything like that. It really is bridge engineering, sickbay, bridge engineering.
I feel like that budget was spent on a stack of Amigas.
Do you reckon?
Probably, yeah. I mean, like I say, it's pretty impressive PG.
Yeah, I mean, we said it earlier, didn't we? That moment where Picard is kind of falling out of the turbo lift. I liked that.
That was cool. That was cool.
And he plays it well.
In terms of a grade for this ep?
Oh, a grade. Well, do you know what? It's really tough, isn't it? Because we gave Last Outpost a D- last week.
Was it D-? Or
was it? No, it was a D+. It was
I think it was a D+, yeah.
I think that was a better episode than this.
Yeah, I think it was.
Probably a D.
I'm good with D. It was just kind of real middle ground, just bleh. I don't know. It had some cool moments in it, and some funny moments too. Especially when Kaczynski ends up with egg on his face.
That's true. Yeah, it's almost like it's a wasted opportunity.
It is, yeah. They could have done. I think that's why I mark it down even more, is because they could have done so much more with that B plot. They could have done so much more with that B plot, and it was just way too much focus on the creepy traveller and Wesley, and the fact that Wesley gets a promotion at the end of this Fuck it.
Yeah, because we are going to see a lot more of Wesley from now on in.
Yep, F minus.
F minus. Wow.
No, I'll go D. We'll go with a D.
Okay. So this isn't the last episode that the Traveller is in. We will see him in the future.
We are going to see him again?
Yeah, we see him a couple more times.
Oh, okay.
And he actually crops up in quite a good episode in season 4 or 5, which it pains me to say, but there's actually quite a good episode with him in.
Same actor?
It's the same guy, yeah. It's the same. Well, I believe it's the same actor. He looks
Yeah.
the same. He looks like the same guy.
Okay.
So as we said right at the beginning, I did just have a quick look up Rob Bowman for some of his directorial credits for the X-Files.
Aha!
Just 'cause, like I say, his name is synonymous with some of like the best episodes. So see if you recognise any of these. Season 2 Endgame, the second parter. Season 3 Paperclip. That's a crazy one with like the Nazis and aliens
totally.
and crazy stuff. Josie Chung's From Outer Space, probably the
Oh, man.
best episode of the X-Files. Tempest Future, another really good mythology one. The film Fight the Future. And he kind of, what I like about him is he stopped after season 7, so he wasn't involved in the shit heap that has been season 8 onwards.
Yeah. Yeah, we might get there one day.
We might. I mean, stay tuned for the SpiltBrew.com X-Files podcast
Spoilers.
that may or may not one day come to pass. So anyway,
Spoilers, man.
Spoilers, yeah. This has been Red Shirts Die First. We have been reviewing Where No One Has Gone Before. Do you have any last words there, Tom?
Not particularly. If you are listening to us for the first time, Red Shirts Die First is a chronological exploration of the Next Generation from Season 1 through to Season 7, or until one of us dies. Ha ha ha, touch wood.
It's getting closer every time, isn't it?
I know, I know.
This is our 5th one. We've aged by 5 weeks now.
We have aged by 5 weeks.
God
5
damn
whole
it.
Weeks. But we have got some new listeners as well, so shout out to those new listeners.
We do, yeah, and a big cheers to my friend Ollie, who's helping quite a lot with some of the inspiration for this series.
Yes, personal commendations.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been Andy,
I have been Tom.
and thank you for listening.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Next time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Violence will not be tolerated on the Enterprise.
The Enterprise plays host to feuding aliens. And the crew's invaded by an awesome power.
Captain Picard, you are now relieved of duty. I judge you to be disabled and mentally incapacitated.
Now, the captain's trapped in its deadly clutches.
It's blinding me!
On Star Trek The Next Generation.
This is going well. So yeah,
What's the word, Tom?
a warp drive. Rescue me.
There's too much pressure. Basically,
What
yeah.
the fuck does he say?